The big news making international headlines: a nuclear-powered Russian submarine and 3 Russian ships arrived in Cuba today. What are these warships doing so close to the United States? CBS's David Martin reports tonight from the Pentagon.
Having passed just 30 miles off Florida, a 4-ship Russian flotilla pulled into Havana today, led by a warship and a submarine, both armed with guided missiles, and greeted by a 21-gun salute. While the submarine is nuclear-powered, U.S. officials say there's no indication it is carrying nuclear weapons.
We, of course, take it seriously, but these exercises don't pose a threat to the United States.
It's not the first time Russian warships have pulled into Cuba, but U.S. officials say this appears intended by Vladimir Putin as a high-profile response to the Biden administration's support for Ukraine. The frigate has been used in the past to test one of Russia's newest hypersonic missiles.
We're always constantly going to monitor any foreign vessels operating near U.S. territorial waters. 2
American destroyers plus 2 ships specially equipped with sonar for tracking the submarine, along with Navy patrol planes, even sail drones, shadowed the Russian flotilla as it made its way across the Atlantic into the Caribbean. The Russian ships are expected to remain in Havana until next week before getting underway again, perhaps for Venezuela. When they do, officials say, the U.S. Navy will start shadowing them again. A nuclear-powered submarine in Havana evokes memories of the 1962 Cuban Missile Crisis, but National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan said today there is no evidence Russia is transferring nuclear missiles to Cuba. Nora?
Just this Sunday, one of the biggest economic deals of the century just came to an end. The long-standing Petrodollar agreement between Saudi Arabia and the US just expired on June 9th, 2024. But just this Sunday, the Prince of Saudi Arabia announced that he would not renew this contract. And this decision is part of a much bigger trend where countries are ditching dollars in international trade and oil transactions.
The dollar looks like they're dumping it.
The world's largest oil producer, Saudi Arabia, is reportedly asking to join BRICS.
As more and more developing nations, including some of the world's largest economies, decide to ditch the dollar in their bilateral trade, voices of concern and even despair are being heard in the US over the looming end of America's global financial dominance.
It's Tuesday, June 11th, 2024. Thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate it. Please make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Keep sharing these videos, ladies and gentlemen. Keep blasting them on your social media. Keep waking people up. We are really spiraling out of control. Now, I want to get right into it today. There's a few things that I noted here. I've got some notes, got some articles. Comment on all of this. I love the comments. Most people love the comments. Most of you know about this petrodollar situation that occurred Sunday, June 9th. The 50-year-old petrodollar agreement between Saudi Arabia and the U.S. Expired. And it is not going to be renewed. So it was allowed to expire. It will not be renewed. And this is just another reminder to all of us that things are moving very quickly. Somebody commented yesterday, what are you going to do with this gold if things get bad? What are you going to do with US dollars if things get bad? That's my question to you. This right here is why I bought gold yesterday, because of this expiration of the petrodollar agreement. 50 years old. It is now expired, and we'll talk a little bit about this. I don't have the answers here. Nobody's really talking about it on Fox Business, CNBC, the financial channels. There is very little talk about what is going on, and it really hasn't had any effect on markets or metals yet. But will it is the question. I think it will, because this is another reminder to all of us that countries across the world are moving away from the dollar. They're dumping dollars. You see Japan dumping bonds, China dumping bonds. The world has seen the weaponization of the US dollar. We're already threatening China with sanctions if they get involved with Taiwan. So they're dumping more bonds. That's inflationary for us, not good for your dollar. Somebody said, oh, the dollar is stronger than ever. Are you kidding me? It's lost 98% of its purchasing power. And this is not going to help it whatsoever. But, you know, the person that asked yesterday, what are you going to do with the gold? Well, I'm going to do a lot more with gold than I am the US dollar, that's for sure, because gold hasn't lost 98% of its purchasing power. Ask yourself why it takes so many more dollars to buy that barbarous yellow relic called gold. We are no doubt losing our dominance. And without the petrodollar, we're going to lose a lot of our power and influence across the world. So just a few notes here. You know, think about what this means. And I don't know when this is going to really show effect here in America, but at some point, this is going to possibly put an enormous strain on the U.S. banking system. I believe this is going to be very inflationary. This could lead to much higher taxes. This could affect the national deficit. This is going to no doubt affect your purchasing power at some point. It is going to affect the value of the U.S. dollar, and in return will affect your purchasing power. How about buying things from other countries? It's going to be more expensive to buy things from other countries. We are losing our power, ladies and gentlemen. Saudi Arabia.
First tonight, 8 suspected terrorists nabbed in a federal operation, part of it unfolding right here in Philadelphia. This is the 10 o'clock news. I'm Sheba Russell.
And I'm Jason Martinez. Federal sources say the suspects have ties to ISIS. And Chris, what else are we learning tonight?
That's right, Jason. Those 8 suspects reportedly with ties to ISIS are Tajikistani nationals who authorities believe came into the United States through the southern border.
The arrest came in a coordinated sting with suspects detained in Los Angeles, New York, and Philadelphia. The 8 Tajikistani nationals reportedly having ties to ISIS. Authorities confirming ICE agents arrested several non-citizens pursuant to immigration authorities. The actions were carried out in close coordination with the FBI's Joint Terrorism Task Forces. Just last week, the head of the FBI warned about a type of threat on U.S. soil.
Our most immediate concern has been that individuals or small groups will draw twisted inspiration from the events in the Middle East to carry out attacks here at home.
Fox News reporting the suspects were allowed into the U.S. pending asylum after being fully vetted. It wasn't until after they were released authorities flagged them for having ties to the terror group ISIS.
It's always troublesome when any of these individuals come in, whether they come in through the southern border or they come in, you know, through Philadelphia.
Former Deputy Assistant Secretary of Homeland Security, Jack Tamarcio, says right now federal investigators are most likely trying to learn everything they can about the suspects.
Are they ethnic Russians who were living in Tajikistan? Are they fundamentalists with a religious issue?
Right now, it's unclear what the suspects were planning or if Philly was a target.
I don't know what he was doing here. I suspect he wasn't here to see the Liberty Bell as a tourist. Either he was in transit or there was something being planned for this area. We just don't know.